This is a teaching for women. So the Bible tells us that in the end days there'll be that information will increase, and you know, we live in this time of information. You can search up anything on the internet. Everyone has a smartphone, even grandmas and grandpas. Like, everyone has access to this information for the most part. Like, obviously there are people in you know, less privileged countries and things like that, and you know, in poverty and things like that. But what you I want to talk about the name of the Messiah. So because we've had this increase of information and you're able to easily research things, you can do a quick Google search. What was the Hebrew what was the Messiah's Hebrew name? Because he was a Hebrew man, he spoke Hebrew. Like, what was his original name? Because, you know, obviously everyone knows the name Jesus. That's everywhere. Everyone uses that name. I'll get into that later as well. But most Christians now know that the Hebrew name of the Messiah was Yehoshua or Yeshua. But even then, they'll still say Jesus / Yeshua. They might use them interchangeably. But the issue is, well, for one, Yeshua, the Messiah, was a Hebrew man. He spoke Hebrew. He was never Greek. He wouldn't have been called Jesus in his time. Jesus is a new character that has come up under this new name. And the thing, so like Acts 4, I think it's Acts 4:12. I might read it quickly. But the name is very important. So Acts 4:12. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. And even this wording is cool because it says, neither is there salvation in any other name. If you look at the original, at the meaning of the name Yeshua, it literally means salvation in Hebrew. Yeshua is salvation. But you know, when it talks about the name, and also the name of God, Jehovah, when it talks about name in the Bible, it's talking about the authority. So in the Bible, words have been picked in English that sound right, that push a certain agenda. Jeremiah 8:8 talks about that a little bit, but you can look up the original word meanings in the Greek and in the Hebrew of the Bible to check, because what was I going to say? Yeah, like I kind of said it before, but because you might want to get more context, like, oh, what does this word, like, for example, the word sepulchre is used, and you might be like, what is that? Because that's not a commonly used English word. And you know, anyway, I'm not going to ramble too much. But sepulchre, you can look it up. What does that actually mean in the Hebrew or the Greek? And it means a tomb, so you can figure out what that means. You can do that with pretty much any word in the Bible to figure out what it actually means. You can even do it with the name of the Messiah. You can put Jesus in the Strong's Concordance or the eSword app. Look at the root name. You're going to see it's Yehoshua or Yeshua. The same as in the book of Joshua. That's been correctly, I think it's transliterated from Hebrew into English. Yeshua into English is Joshua. So, you know, Jesus comes from the Hebrew name Yeshua, transliterated into Greek, and then transliterated into English. Why are we doing all these steps? Like, it's done by purpose to create this new name, and there's a false Messiah behind that name, which you are warned about. And in Jeremiah 23, it says, all these people, they're going to be prophesying by the name of Baal, all these wolf pastors in all these churches, and in the end days, all the churches are apostate, they fall away from the truth. So if you see and you know it's the end days, You have to believe the rest of the word that tells you that in the end days the churches fall away from the truth, and they what am I trying to say? I'm still waking up. But yeah, so what was I trying to say? But yeah, sorry, name means authority or the character. So we need to make sure we have the right name and the right character behind that name, because the thing is, people, they might use the name Yeshua because, oh, I've discovered the Hebrew name. But if you don't know the Messiah, and you only know the Messiah if you know God, and the way you know God and the way you love God is if you keep his commandments, then you receive the Holy Spirit of truth. So if you are literally using the name Yeshua, but you are still you're following the Messiah as if he is this peace and love guy, that you don't have to keep the commandments because he died on the cross so that you don't have to keep the 10 commandments anymore. This doctrine of devils that has been taught by men in these fallen away churches, then you haven't accepted the true Messiah. You've accepted the lawless one that comes in his own name, his own authority. And that's John 5:43. Yeshua comes in his Father's name, Jehovah. Yeshua means Jehovah saves. Jehovah is salvation. And he's not accepted. But the one who comes in his own name, the character of Jesus, is the lawless one who is accepted by pretty much everyone now, even celebrities. And it even goes into the realm of people saying the Messiah is God. That's an absolute blasphemy, and it's not biblical at all. Yeshua, he said, these aren't the words these are the words of the Father. The Father is greater than I. There's none good but one, that is God. If you read John 17, you can be very, very confused if you think Yeshua and Jehovah are the same being. It says, I and the Father are one, just as the servants are one, basically. Do the servants of God literally become one being? Does a man and a wife literally become one being when they become one flesh in a marriage? It's symbolic. It's like a metaphor for being united in the same objective, with being united by the same doctrine. There's one doctrine, there's one way, there's one true gospel. And that is the refreshing of the covenant made at Horeb. That was the 10 Commandments. Before the sacrificial law was added for transgression against those as the schoolmaster. The sacrificial law is what was ended at the cross when Yeshua said, it is finished. And that's Colossians 2:14, John 19:30. So an example, there was a TikTok live or something, and this woman was using the name Yeshua, but what she was doing is she was doing this classic deliverance thing, casting out demons in the name of Yeshua. And I was like, hang on a minute. This is not what we do. The way you get rid of demons now, in the past, it's to do with the Levitical priesthood and the Melchizedek. But now everything pretty much is spiritual, in a reflection of what was literal in Yeshua's time in the Old Testament and stuff. But now we get rid of demons by the finger of God. The 10 Commandments written by the finger of God, the Spirit of God. That's how you become delivered, is through sanctification. You start keeping the commandments. And it's a daily thing. Like, you have to meditate on them day and night. You have to check your heart, make sure, ask God to reveal if you're sinning at all against the commandments. And what else was I going to say? She's using the name, but the character was Jesus, and she even after that started using the name Jesus. So she doesn't know the Messiah, because You only know the Messiah through God if you keep the commandments. What else? Yeah, and that's the thing too, like on the other side, someone might be coming to the truth and they realize they have to keep the commandments. And the thing is, it's all a process, and different things are revealed at different times to different people. So me, for example, I started with the 10 commandments. I started with trying to keep the Sabbath. Like, I was keeping it incorrectly at the beginning, but that's where it started for me. For someone else, it might be like, I need to get rid of Christmas and Easter. I mean, it all comes in the end, but like certain things will happen first, if that makes sense. The name, that happens at different times for different people. But if you are in the truth, it will be revealed to you. So and Mark is a great example of this, A.k.a. Watchmenwakeup on YouTube. So, he's in the truth. God's showing him all this stuff. He's revealing it to other people. But years ago, he's keeping the commandments. He's teaching others to do so. But he was still using the name Jesus because it hadn't been revealed yet. It's just different for each person, but it will be revealed to those in the truth at some point. And that goes back to John 17. But yeah, as always, I try to do a quick video, but it never seems to happen. But basically, the name is the character, is the authority. And the name and the character of Jesus is the name and character and authority of the Antichrist spirit of error. Because if that spirit is making you feel wonderful and happy and free, but you're not keeping the commandments of God, then that is not the true spirit. The Messiah came to teach the refreshing of the covenants, to keep the 10 commandments, to eat biblically clean, which is a rainbow covenant. So not eating like swine's flesh and things like that. You can read Isaiah 65 and 66, Leviticus 11, so that we could be reconciled to God. What was I going to say? Oh my goodness. Sorry, my brain is very slow today. But yeah, so I don't know how I want to end this, but basically, the Messiah is Yeshua. It literally means salvation. He comes in his Father's name, Jehovah. Jesus is the name and character of the lawless one that says you don't have to do anything, you just have to be a nice person, and he took care of everything else, so you don't have to even obey God anymore, which is really ridiculous. And if you're going to a church that's telling you that, well, if you're going to church at all, you need to come out of the churches because they're all lying to you. Read Jeremiah 23, Ezekiel 34. Yeah. And come to straightasthegate.net, STRAIT is thegate.net. We meet every single day for Bible studies. We'll help you learn, we'll help you unlearn all the lies of the church. Because she is the great whore, that's Revelation 18:4. Church is going to lead you straight to hell if they're not teaching obedience. That's Matthew 5:19 or 17. Those that keep and teach the commandments will be called great in the kingdom of God. Those that break the least of the commandments and teach others to break the commandments will, I said it the wrong way around. They will be least in the kingdom of heaven. Those that keeping and teaching the commandments will be great in the kingdom of heaven. So if your church isn't teaching you to keep the commandments, they're going to be least in the kingdom, which means outside the kingdom. They'll be punished, but you also don't get out of it free because you were supposed to test everything they were saying with the Bible, study everything out, be a noble Berean, not just follow a man speaking.